Good morning. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Strokes, Staying Clean. And I'm so happy to be here sharing my recovery with you. Now, we're up to step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. We came to Narcotics Anonymous as a result of the wreckage of our past. The last thing we expected was an awakening of the spirit. We just wanted to stop hurting. The step led us to an awakening of a spiritual nature. This awakening is evidenced by change in our lives. These changes made us better able to live by the spiritual principles and carry our message to our recovery and hope to the addict who still suffers. The idea of a spiritual awakening takes many different forms in the different personalities that we find in our fellowship. You know, after I completed my 11th step, and I came to the 12th step, after having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, my spiritual awakening was I truly understand what addiction did to my life. I truly understand the pain I caused myself and others through my addiction. I understood what I have lost by going down that path of addiction, what I cannot get back, the damage I've done to myself and others, the change I had to understand, the pain of the hurt I caused others, to truly understand what addiction did to me, what I cannot get back from my active addiction because of the choices I made in my addiction. I had a spiritual awakening, understanding exactly what addiction did to my life. And by experiencing these things, I did not want to see anyone suffer the way I suffered, what I've done to myself and others. I could carry the message because I don't want nobody to go through the pain of what I'll be experiencing for the rest of my life. The choices I made in my active addiction destroyed relationships in my life that I cannot get back. That was my spiritual awakening. My spiritual awakening also was that a power greater than myself restored me to sanity. That it was nothing that Robert did, but Robert stopped driving the car and allowed a power greater than him to restore him to sanity. Meaning that I was willing to listen and learn. I was willing to listen and learn. I was willing to accept what I've done to myself and others in my active addiction. That I did not put the blame on nobody else but Robert for the things he done in his active addiction. Also, understanding the trauma and how it affected my life and caused me to make the decisions that I made in my active addiction. The 12th step was a powerful step because I came to realization of understanding exactly what was done to Robert. And it hurt deeply. And by understanding this, I truly, truly didn't want nobody else to lose just as much as I've lost in my addiction that I have to live with in my recovery. That's why it was so important for me to build a new way of life, a new way of living, a new perspective of my life. because I destroyed my old life by my active addiction. I lost people that I love and I care from by my active addiction. I could not face the trauma that happened to me many moons ago because I was in my active addiction. I didn't want to face it. So I medicated myself so I would not feel the pain or the hurt. But by me doing that, it lived rent-free in my head over and over and over again. And I would medicate myself more so I will not feel the pain until what helped me became my prison. Because my body relied on the drug to make me feel good. Yes. After having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and to practice the principles in all our affairs, meaning that I must live in recovery each and every day for the rest of my life. That I have to do this way of living because I do not want to go back down the rabbit hole. I do not want to face the pain that I've faced in my active addiction. But also living life on life's terms, living in recovery, I have to look at what I've done to myself and others and what I've lost in my active addiction that I do not have anymore. And the interesting thing is that I missed out on so much of living life on life's terms by my active addiction. I have family members that don't want to have nothing to do with me. Family members that I don't even know. That members of my family had children, they have grandchildren, and I know none of them. I'm on the outside looking in, which is a very painful and emotional feeling. But I don't pick up and use because I understand that it was my active addiction that destroyed my life. And I can't get those years back because I was in active addiction for 40 years. And it's a very, very long time. Life continued without me with my family. And now that I'm better, now that I'm in recovery, now I'm living my best life, then I feel the feeling of being alone without a family. Because I missed 40 years of living life on life's terms, enjoying the fruits of my family, the ups and downs, the growth of my family, the grandchildren that I do not know, the cousins that I do not know, being an uncle I do not know. My addiction has taken so much from me, but recovery has given me a life. But I've lost so much. But recovery has given me a life, but I've lost so much. And it is painful at times. Understanding recovery is understanding exactly what addiction truly did to you, what it has taken away from you. And when you understand just how much addiction has taken away from you, you don't go back down that path anymore. After having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, understanding what addiction did to your life and what you've lost will make you not go back down the rabbit hole and pick up again. Because you don't want to lose no more. You don't want to lose nothing more. You've lost enough. You don't want to lose no more. I don't want to lose no more. But recovery keeps me accepting what I've done to myself and others while I was in my active addiction. Recovery lets me see the gratitude what recovery has given me. All the things that I've overcome to get to this point in my life. I worked hard to get here. It's a blessing. And to realize just exactly how much I've lost and still keep moving forward and trying to live my best life by overcoming obstacles that are in the way in my recovery. Recovery taught me to live life on life's terms. I may not like it, but it's the best way for me to go. Acceptance. I must accept what addiction has done to me. I must accept the ones that do not want to have nothing to do with me. I must accept these painful situations that happen in my life, that addiction has caused it to happen by me following that path. I must accept these things. I'm not going to say that they don't hurt. Yes, they do hurt. But I learned to live with the choices I've made in my past and work on making me a better person for today. And by me making myself a better person for today, I have a future of living my best life. But once I understand this, after having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I carry this message to addicts and practice these principles in all my affairs. Because the pain that I've experienced and the pain that I have to go through on a daily basis to live with the choices I've made in my active addiction, I don't want nobody to suffer like I've suffered. Because I suffered for 40 years in active addiction. I destroyed my life by picking up and using cocaine. I destroyed everything that meant something to me by being addicted to cocaine. And that's an acceptance that I have to accept. I can't change the past. I can't change what I've done to myself and others in my past. But I can change my present and change my future by the choices I make in recovery. After having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to get high no more. I don't want to be in that position no more because I understand what it's done to my life. After having a spiritual awakening as a result, I finally woke the hell up. I finally woke up. I finally see what I've done to myself and others. And I don't want you to experience the pain that I live with on a daily basis of the things I've done in my past. That's why I carry the message of recovery to those who are still suffering in active addiction. Because I don't want nobody to suffer like I'm suffering in my recovery. Yes, I'm enjoying life on life's terms, but also I have the pain of the things I've done to myself and others, and the relationships I've destroyed in my active addiction that I cannot get back. I can't change history. I can't change the trauma that was done to me that I did not want to face. But I have to live with my actions in my addiction. That's why it's so important for me to have a gratitude of all the things I've accomplished in my recovery, so I can see and understand how I made my life better, that I'm going in the right direction in my life, that I don't allow the past to overshadow what recovery is doing in my life today. It's making my life better. I go to sleep with the same things I went to bed with. But in my active addiction, that never happened. A lot of times I had to start over each and every day because I lost what I worked hard for by my addiction. But in recovery, I'm being blessed by the fruits of my labor. I hope what I share today gets you to understand that when a person in recovery, after having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and we practice these principles in all our affairs. That's why we share the message. Because we had a spiritual awakening. We understand exactly what addiction has done to us. We understand the pain and the hurt that we live with because of our actions and our addiction. That we don't want no one to suffer like we suffered in our addiction. We don't want you to suffer. So we share our strength and hopes with you so you don't have to go down the path that we went down in our active addiction. We want you to learn from our mistakes. I want you to learn from 40 years worth of hell that I've experienced in my active addiction and where it has taken me. So you don't have to go through the pain that I went through because I don't want you to. Because it's painful, it's hurtful, it's destructive. You have an opportunity to learn from my mistakes, to find your way in recovery. I don't know what works for you in your recovery. I know what works for me in my recovery. You have to find your way in recovery. You have to find out what works best for you. You must learn from your own mistakes to make yourself better. You must own up to your own mistakes. I have lived up to my own mistakes. And it was painful. It wasn't easy. But it made my life better. It allowed me to get rid of the wreckage of my past because I'm working on myself to make myself better. I can't make you better. You have to work on yourself to make yourself better. You have to find what works for you to make your life better. That means you must keep the focus on yourself. I keep the focus on myself to make my life better. I hope that me sharing my strength and hopes with you about the 12 steps will help you along the way in your recovery. Because my purpose is for you to find out what works for you, how you can live your best life in recovery. I don't know what you need. It's up to you to find out what you need so you don't fall down the rabbit hole, so you don't go back to addiction, but you keep moving forward in your recovery. It's up to you to find your way, just like it's up to me to find my way in recovery. This is Robert Goodman from Positive Strokes, wishing you a great day. And remember, you are the most important person to yourself. You. It doesn't matter if you're married, you have children. You are the most important person to yourself. Love yourself by protecting yourself, by doing the next right thing so your life will get better. This is Robert Goodman here on Positive Strokes, wishing you a great day. And remember, loving yourself should be the first most important thing in your life. Because when you can love yourself, you can love others the right way. You have a great and wonderful day.